The Buffalo Bills should not, I repeat, should not have been in this game. Baltimore was dominating defensively all game, from the first to the second to the third quarter. They were sensational. And watching Derrick Henry was like a work of art. I've never seen a running back dominate the line of scrimmage as well as he did in a game against a very good defense, a very good front seven. But people forget who really stood out with the Buffalo Bills in their defense. Oliver was unbelievable, sensational defensively. We speak about, I was speaking to many different people all day long, talking about what TJ Watt did in the Jet game, and we will get into that. And even Quentin Williams, what he did in the Jet game, dominating at the line of scrimmage against the Pittsburgh Steelers. What stood out to me in this game was Buffalo getting the defense they needed in the important times with guys like Oliver. Oliver was sensational. And Joey Bosa, I don't think Joey Bosa has been a part of anything like this because he was a part of the Chargers organization practically his whole career. He's never been in a playoff. He's never been in these kind of games where you can say, I got a chance to make the playoffs. I got a chance. And remember, at the tail end of his career with the Chargers, he played with Justin Herbert. He did make the playoffs, but they had no business making the playoffs those years because their defense could not hold up, as we saw in the playoffs year in and year out. Justin Herbert, sensational, fighting injury. Josh Allen is a different beast. Josh Allen proved to everybody why he won the MVP last year. A lot of people questioning what the NFL did, and the NFL going with Josh Allen over Lamar Jackson. When you look at Lamar Jackson's numbers, the guy only threw 4 interceptions last year. 4 and over 40 touchdowns, over 4,000 yards, 700 yards run. When you look at these kind of numbers, that is MVP-esque. Josh Allen, I'm not saying Josh Allen didn't have a great year last year. Was it an MVP caliber over Lamar Jackson or even Joe Burrow? The answer would be no. But the NFL doesn't really like to give back-to-back MVPs to players anymore. The last person to do that of that magnitude, the way we've seen over the years, was Peyton Manning. Brett Favre as well. Quarterbacks usually win this award. When you look at Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson, these are two defiant, top-end quarterbacks in the NFL. And going into this game, game 1 of the NFL season, going to Buffalo, you would have thought, watching Lamar Jackson just dominate all game long, that they were running away with the game. Buffalo fans were leaving in the fourth quarter. They didn't want to be there anymore. They knew the game was over. Josh Allen kept them in the game. I got to say something about Coleman. He played very well. Buffalo does not have enough depth offensively. When you look at the team that they have and what they put together this year, Shakir is really their number one guy. He's really their number one guy, and he's a slot guy. Derrick Henry showed you why he's one of the elite, one of the greatest running backs of this era. If you look at his numbers, Derrick Henry is one of only 4 running backs that has put up these kind of numbers. If I'm not mistaken, 2 touchdowns and over 100 yards in primetime games. The fact is this the end of the Baltimore Ravens? No. I think Baltimore is going to be elite this year. I expect Baltimore to win 11, 12 games. Derrick Henry is going to play a big part. Derrick Henry is going to have to stay healthy, which he's been fighting for years. Last year was the first season in a long time that I could say Derrick Henry played the majority of the games. Lamar Jackson is an excellent quarterback. But when the going got tough, who needed to stand on their head? Who needed to make the plays? And that was Josh Allen. And Josh Allen wanted to prove himself to the NFL, to the fans, that he was the MVP of the NFL last year. He deserves the respect. And remember, when you look at Josh Allen, when he came into the league, he had problems throwing certain passes. Not anymore. Josh Allen is elite from the elite. We talk about Jim Kelly, from what Jim Kelly did all those years with the great Buffalo Bills. 4 consecutive Super Bowl appearances. Failed to win any of them. And nobody, and I, including yours truly, thought that the Buffalo Bills would ever get a quarterback this good again. And Josh Allen, when he was drafted, there was a lot of questions with him. He was drafted in a very good class of quarterbacks. A lot of questions if he can compete, coming from Wyoming and playing for a school of that magnitude and not really having the great statistics that a quarterback, or you would expect an elite quarterback to have coming out of college. He changed everybody's mind. A lot of people would give Brian Daboll a little bit more credit than he deserves about his development. But this team, this Buffalo Bills team, if they have a chance to win a Super Bowl, it's this year. There is no argument to that. This Buffalo Bills team showed everybody on national television that they can beat anybody going down at any score, 20, 15 points, and come back against an elite defense, come back against an elite offense, and dominate in the important parts of a game. You look at the defensive side of the ball, both teams played well. When you look at the score, 41-40, you'd be like, this wasn't a good defensive game. Wrong again. Both teams played very well defensively. The problem with Buffalo, they couldn't stop the run, and they couldn't stop Zay Flowers. And I got to give a shout-out to Zay Flowers. Zay Flowers, over the years, couldn't stay healthy. A lot of people thought he was too short and too light, especially on his feet. Well, in the offseason, he put on 15 pounds. You can see the difference of his game. Not only speed, strong in the upper body now, can run routes just as good as anybody in the league. And now, I believe the Baltimore Ravens have a deep threat, a guy that can dominate. You could put him anywhere on the field. You could put him in the slot. You could put him on the outside. You could put him on both sides. Zay Flowers showed you why he's as good as what they believed he was going to be when they drafted him. And how about Hopkins making that one-hand grab in the fourth quarter? Oh, actually, it was the end of the third quarter when he made that grab. Now, the question is, are they going to have enough? Bateman can't stay healthy, so you can't trust that Bateman's going to be healthy all season long. So they had to go after a number 2 guy that has experience and that can go out there and is chasing a championship, which he's never won. But now you look at Baltimore. Is Baltimore going to roll up and think that this is the end of the season? They can't compete with teams like Buffalo? No, not at all. Buffalo won a game that was very, very close, was fun to watch. We were speaking about, and again, I'll get into the Jet game a little bit later. The Jets had, to me, the most competitive game of the whole week. And there were a lot of good games, but that was the most competitive and fun game to watch. Wrong again, if you didn't watch Sunday Night Football, then you guys missed one of the all-time great games. That game showed you why this could be the AFC title game. The Baltimore Ravens versus the Buffalo Bills. This could very much be the AFC title game with the talent that both teams have, the coaches that both teams have. And by the way, John Harbaugh, now I don't know if he's on a hot seat, but if this team doesn't get over the hump and this team can't or won't make it to a Super Bowl with Lamar Jackson as their quarterback, this might be the end of John Harbaugh. I believe this is the end of Mr. McDermott. If McDermott doesn't get this team to the Super Bowl, he's done. This team is too talented defensively over the years. You added Joey Bosa in the offseason. You took away and you got rid of Von Miller. You decided to go younger on certain aspects of your team and your offensive side of the ball. Well, if you're going to do that, you're expected to win. And now Josh Allen, married, happy, looking like a guy a wrecking machine, a machine that might not be able to be stopped this year. When you put up 400 yards on national television and dominate the fourth quarter as well as he did, bravo to, I believe, the best quarterback of week 1 and the MVP of the NFL last year.